Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to today's video, which is going to be a gigantic book haul. I have accumulated some books over the past 2-ish months, all discounted or thrifted or even free, and I'm so excited to show them to you guys. We have a lot of books here to talk about, and none of them are bought full price, so if you really put your mind to it, you can find some amazing books for discounted prices. Sorry if the angle changed. My tripod was literally about to topple off of my trash can. That is what I'm using for this video. And my Bloom Shirley Temple Energy is the best flavor. I love it so much. So let's just get into it. I'm gonna kind of do it by the place that I got them from. So I'm going to talk about is Savers. I did a Savers trip and I found some amazing reads. Hurdles all the way down, and it's a signed copy. The signature is right here. This book was really popular like a while ago. Like, I remember growing up in middle school and this was really popular book, and John Green, of course, is a popular author. I've read The Fault in Our Stars, and that's like one of my favorite books of all time. And then I've also read Paper Towns. So I actually really enjoy his books, and this one has always been on my radar. I just never like went and bought it, but I found it in like great condition at Savers and was like, this is my sign to finally get it. I don't really know much about it. I know that it became a movie or a TV show, one of the two, so I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's young adult, so an easy read, and I'm excited to finally get to it. The book I found is How It Feels to Float, and this is another young adult novel. I've seen this around as well, but not like as of recently. Again, I don't really know a lot about it. I know that it's quite a sad book, and it deals with grief and maybe some mental health rep, but just another like easy young adult book, but also that explores like good topics. I also am drawn to it because the blurb up here is from the author of Girl in Pieces, and that is probably my #1 favorite book of all time, so I have high hopes that maybe it's a little bit like that. Is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This copy is a little bit beat up, a little bit dirty, but I paid $3.99 for it instead of $17.99, so I was like, I'll take it. This one I see on TikTok all the time. It's one of her more popular books, and it's I think it's similar to The Nightingale in the sense that it deals with family, and obviously it's historical fiction, as the majority of her books are, and it deals with kind of that sisterhood. And I'm excited to read more Kristen Hanna because I loved The Nightingale so much, and I've yet to pick up another Kristen Hanna book, so maybe this will be the next one. They just intimidate me because they are so long, but I'm happy I found this. The next book I'm kind of excited about, I found Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, but not like the US cover. It was like, I don't know what cover maybe this is the UK cover, but I found this, and Intermezzo has been kind of on my radar, but I never like bit the bullet and bought it because every time I had gone to Barnes & Noble, it was always the hardcover, and all my Sally Rooney books I have are in paperback. So I was kind of waiting for the paperback, and I haven't come across it, but I came across this one. And it is not the cover I wanted, but it is a different cover than the US cover, which is pretty cool. Pretty sure this follows two brothers and is also tackling themes of grief. So I actually really like Sally Rooney's writing. I read Conversations with Friends last year and really enjoyed it. I read Normal People a while ago, and to be honest, I don't really remember it, but I think I liked it. I would like to read all of her books, and she reminds me of Frederick Bachman in the sense that like they write so beautifully and with such like meaning, and I really like the messaging that's in their books. The final book I got at Savers is Catching Fire to complete my Hunger Games collection. The only one I'm missing is Haymitch's book, but now I have all of them, and I've thrifted almost all of the Hunger Games books. I really would like to read the entire series before Sunrise on the Reaping comes out, which is like so soon, but I've actually never read the Hunger Games books. I think I've only read book 1. I've watched all the movies countless times. They're like my favorite movies ever, and I would love to actually read them, and now I have them, almost all of them. Next, I'm gonna go into my little free library haul. I have one of those neighborhood library like hut things in my front yard, and I put a ton of books in there, and I also take some out if some come that are intriguing. First thing is Just Another Missing Person, and it's a thriller book. I've heard of Wrong Place, Wrong Time by her. I've seen it on TikTok, and I think people liked it, but I've never read it. This one just seemed interesting to me. I want to read more thrillers because really the only thrillers I've been reading is Frida McFadden, and those aren't like my favorite. So I would like to read some more. It seems that we're following 2 women. One is the detective, and then the woman who goes missing. So that seems fun. Next one is another thriller. The cover kind of got me because these rain droplets are actually textured, and that's just like does something to my brain. I've never heard of this author or read any books by her or like seen her books anywhere, but it was in good condition. It's a Reese's Book Club pick, and something about it caught my eye. It also takes place in Maine, and I live in New England, so I love to read something that's local. I think it's like a murder mystery type deal. Next is a Kristen Hanna book, Angel Falls. I have never heard of this one. I thought that I heard or have seen all of Kristen Hanna's books, but this one I have not. I assume this is one of like her first ones, but I'm not 1,000% sure. This one seems kind of messy. The main woman falls into a coma, and her husband is trying to like navigate this life, and like ends up reaching out to her ex-husband for some help. Seems cool. It's very short compared to other Kristen Hanna books. So, and then finally I have Laura Lamont's Life in Pictures by Emma Straub. I've never seen this book before, and I've never read a book by her, but I feel like this author sounds familiar to me. I feel like she just wrote a book and it came out recently, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't really know what drew me to this. I think the cover and the fact that I recognize the author's name. It takes place in the 1920s, which is not a time period that I usually read about, but could be interesting. Ow, my feet. My legs hurt. Should I try and sit crisscross? Like, I hope you can still see me. This next book I found at a thrift store, and it was $1, and it was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. What a find. I'm like so happy that I found this because I love Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I've heard such amazing things about this story, and I just, again, never bought it, and I found it for $1. This hardcover is $30. It is definitely higher on my radar now that I actually have it, and I'm so happy that I found it for so cheap, and I'm so excited to read it. Okay, there might be a slight angle change because I had to do something real quick, but now we're getting to the last place where I bought books recently, which is the Mill City Book Warehouse, which is in Fall River, Massachusetts, and it is this giant 3-story warehouse just full of books, and they're all 70% off, and they're all like in perfect condition, and I got 10 books from there the other day for $52.50. So if you're in the Massachusetts area and you want to support a small business, definitely check out Mill City Book Outlet and follow all of their Instagram pages, and then you can just reach out to the owner and she will let you know a good time for you to come in. It's not open to the general public just yet, but she's very nice and she will let you make an appointment to come in. And so I did some book shopping the other day. So I got Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. What drew me was the cover. This is such like a beautiful edition of it, and I would like to get into more classics. This is the 3rd Jane Austen book that I own. I haven't read any of them, but I really want to, and I feel like this would be a good place to start because I have Emma and I have Pride and Prejudice, but this synopsis sounds like interesting, and it's a little bit on the shorter side, I feel. I guess it's not short. The pages sound so weird, but yes. The next book I got is called The Other You, and if I am not mistaken, this is a book of different stories, and it's one of those books where, like, if you were to make this different decision, how would your life end up? And I think we're following one character, and it's like the different versions of her life if she had made a different decision. And I love stories like that because I always think, like, okay, if I did this differently, like, where would I be today? And this caught my eye. The next book is Love and Other Lies, and this is a thriller, and it's about a couple whose daughter disappears, and I think it's like a mystery, like trying to figure out where she is, find her, while also dealing with like their tumultuous relationship. They're kind of starting to question each other and everything. Seems like a really interesting mystery. Is While We're Young by K.L. Walter. Look how beautiful this book is. I read Summer of Broken Rules by her. It wasn't my favorite, but I couldn't pass this up. It's so beautiful, and I feel like she's a good palate cleanser author because it's young adult romance, and it's also a love triangle. I think that it's like her and two other boys are like best friends, and she ends up falling for one of them. I don't know, but I think it might be a best friend's brother slash friends to lovers mess, and it seemed really interesting. I have another romance, and it's Maybe One Day, and the cover is just so beautiful. I thought this was so cute. And this book follows Jess. She was abandoned by her boyfriend, who was like the love of her life, and they have a child together, and then she stumbles across like this bin of like letters, I think, from him. I think it's like a second chance romance, which I love, and I'm actually really excited for this one. I love a second chance romance. Very typical family, which I think is another mystery type deal. Basically about this messy family. The main character, Natalie, sent her sister and brother to prison and is now bailing them out. I think it just tackles like the messy sibling dynamic and rebuilding those relationships. I thought it was a mystery. I think I'm wrong. So it's more so like a family dynamics fiction book. It caught my eye just because the cover. Look at that. Like, it's so pretty, and it like spoke to me. Following the main character who had like a rough childhood in foster care, and we just see her kind of figure out her life and her upbringing and like who her biological parents are. It's another like literary fiction about messy like family dynamics, and I really love to read about that. Like, one of my favorite books this year was The Bright Years, and that deals with very messy family dynamics and like generational like traumas, and this seems to be similar to it. What I have is Nowhere on Earth, and I can't even pinpoint like what this what genre this is. Now is that we're following this girl, and it says that some random men from Alaska start like following her little brother, and she needs to like protect him. I don't know. I guess this is something like once I read it, then I can figure out what the genre and gist of it is. As you'll see, I don't really read the backs of books. I don't read the synopsis. What gets me to buy a book is usually the cover, and then I'll skim the synopsis, and if like things like jump out to me, then I'll buy it. So that's why I'm not being very good at like explaining what these books are about. Actually, I didn't pick out. My aunt went to the same warehouse, and she accidentally bought 2 of these, and so she gave me the other copy. It's definitely not something that's up like my alley. It's like a vampire hunter. Maybe it's something that I can read and see if I like it. I love watching like vampire shows and movies, so maybe this will be a new genre that I like. And finally, I have this memoir called Karen by Kelsey Grammer, which I didn't know until I showed my mom that I got this, that he's like a very famous actor, producer, director, like very famous. He wrote this book about his sister who was murdered, and he talks about her case as well as like their relationship and kind of like this like a remembrance to her, but also spreading awareness on like her case and how he navigated it. So those are all the books I've accumulated over the past couple months. Definitely adding a lot to my physical TBR, and I've been in the biggest reading slump ever lately. I haven't been reading. I'm in the middle of 4 books right now, and I've only read 5 books in the month of July, but I think that getting all of these books and having all of these exciting reads to look forward to is going to motivate me to read a little bit more. Really want to prioritize my physical TBR. I'm someone who tends to just go on Kindle Unlimited and look for books there because reading on my Kindle is just so convenient. But I really would like to start reading more of my physical TBR now that it's growing at rapid paces. Maybe I will do a reading vlog series of like tackling my physical TBR. I'm starting a new job next week, so I don't really know how content is gonna go because reading vlogs are a little bit more difficult to film if I'm going to be working. My shifts are kind of weird. It's gonna be 1 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, so I'm definitely going to be busier and have less time to read and like participate in like difficult reading challenges, but it's something that we can navigate as it comes. I can't wait to read these books and share all of my thoughts with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you are in the Massachusetts area and want to check out Mill City Book Outlet, please do. I will link all of their socials and their website in the description, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.